Hey guys, Amber here at Prairie Angel Crafts. Today I am going to be showing you how to make a glitter tumbler. To start off, you're going to want to sand down, wash, and spray paint your tumbler. And then you will want to get your epoxy. Today I'm using Envirotex Light Pour On High Gloss Finish that I got from Michaels. I am using about 10 ml of each just for the base coat. It is very important that you have equal parts of both A and B so that way it doesn't dry a little tacky. Then you will mix those into a separate cup and make sure you get every ounce out of each cup so that way you have equal parts. Then you're just going to mix it all together until it is completely clear. Make sure you scrape the sides and the bottom of the cup and your popsicle stick every now and then. So now that I have everything mixed together, I am ready to pour it on my cup. I always grab just an extra sheet of normal copy paper and put it under my cup to help catch any epoxy that may fall. I kind of just check my base, make sure that there's nothing on it, and then I am ready to start pouring. You want to put on as thin of a layer as you possibly can on this base coat so that way you don't have to use as much glitter. Normally you would use gloves for this because some people are allergic to epoxy. I am not, and I don't like using gloves because I can't really feel how evenly the epoxy is spread, but I do recommend, if you're not sure if you're allergic to it or not, to wear gloves. Again, just make sure you're using a thin, even coat of epoxy on this first layer so that way the glitter doesn't clump up in some areas. And if you're going to glitter the bottom of your cup, make sure that you evenly coat the bottom as well. Okay, I've got the first layer of epoxy on my cup. I am going to be using Mother of Opal. It is a chunky glitter from Feather Bear Designs on the bottom. And I'm going to be using Aphrodite, which is also a Feather Bear Bling glitter, a thinner glitter for the top. They are both kind of iridescent, so the purple of the cup will show through. So first thing I'm going to do is change out my copy paper to a clean sheet so that way any glitter that falls onto the paper I can collect and put back into the jar so that way there's no glitter wasted. I put a popsicle stick on my paper so that way it doesn't blow and hit my cup as it is spinning. And then I am just going to grab my glitter and just start kind of sprinkling it on. I am starting with the thinner fine glitter to begin with up at the top and just kind of sprinkle it on until it is where you like it. Okay, so I've got my thinner glitter the way I like it, so I'm just going to take my bottom sheet of paper and fold it up and kind of sprinkle all the excess glitter back into its jar so that way I don't waste any of the glitter because it is too gorgeous to waste. And now I'm ready for my chunkier glitter. Again, I am using Mother of Opal from Feather Bear Designs. You just kind of want to lightly sprinkle the chunkier glitter on. Make sure you work it into that line of the finer glitter as well, so that way they transition nicely. There are different ways you can glitter the bottom of your cup. You can either take the PVC pipe off of your spinner and kind of glitter it that way, or you can do as I'm doing and just kind of toss it on there, which is a little fun. So as you're going, you're going to get a couple pieces of glitter, of the chunkier glitter that want to stick out. So it is easier at this time to kind of pat it down, so that way it's easier later when you're going to put more epoxy on. You don't have to sand as much. Now that I have my cup completely glittered, I just kind of pat down any excess glitter that is sticking up and let it spin for about 6 to 8 hours so that way it completely dries. Okay, so I actually let that bottom layer dry overnight, and I've already prepared my epoxy for the second coat. I'm using roughly about 25 ml to make sure that all the glitter is covered. And you just kind of sprinkle it on, make sure you rub it into the top, the bottom, anywhere that feels a little rougher from the glitter. This layer doesn't have to be perfect because we are going to sand it down, but just try to get it as smooth as possible so that when we put our water slide decal on it, it is completely smooth. Second layer of epoxy is spinning. It's going to spin for about 6 to 8 hours. I'm going to turn my spinner off and let it sit for about 24 to 48 hours. Okay guys, it's been about 48 hours. My cup is completely dry. I have picked out the water slide that I want to use. So now I am just going to take it off and sand down any rough areas that I feel need to be sanded down before applying my water slide. Okay, so after I finished sanding my cup, I washed it in the sink and completely dried it. Now I'm just kind of feeling on my cup to see where the smoothest surface is going to be. I am using just a water slide decal that I bought off a shop off Etsy. You can definitely make your own water slide decals at home. My printer is not working at the moment, so I decided to purchase one. Now I'm just going to go ahead and trim off the white pieces on my water slide decal that aren't part of the design itself, so that way it's a little bit easier to work with. Once you get your water slide decal trimmed the way you need it, you're just going to get a normal bowl of water. You will go ahead and put your water slide decal into the water bowl face down or face up. Either way, it doesn't matter. If you do it face up, it's going to kind of curl up, which is fine. You just get it wet and then kind of flip it over and let it sit in the water for about 30 seconds or so. So you're going to want to prep your surface of your tumbler for the water slide decal. You just kind of get it a little bit wet. What that does is it helps the water slide decal slide around. So that way when you put it on the tumbler the first time, you can actually move it to the direction you want it to be. Okay, so my water slide has been sitting in the water for about 30 seconds. To check to see if it's ready, you just kind of slide it around on the paper. If it slides, that means it's ready. If not, you just want to put it right back in the water for a little bit longer. So mine is ready, so I just kind of put it on my tumbler where I want and just kind of gently slide the water backing or the paper backing out from behind the water slide. Now you just kind of move your water slide around on your cup to the desired position. Once it is in that position, You just kind of take it off of your spinner so that way it's easier to work with. Okay, so now I have my waterslide decal where I want it. So I am going to use a silicone spatula, which you can get from Dollar Tree, and just kind of spread out my design gently so that way it pulls out any water bubbles that were behind the water slide. And every now and then you'll just kind of want to take a paper towel and kind of blot your design just to get that excess water off. So my waterslide decal has been sitting on my cup for about an hour or so to make sure that it's completely adhered to the cup before the final layer of epoxy. Okay, now I'm ready for my last layer of epoxy. I will be using roughly about 30 mLs, and you just want to spread it on just like you have previously. Make sure it is a completely even coat. Make sure you are spreading the epoxy all the way to the top of the cup around the rim and the bottom so you complete the seal. Okay, so now I have completed that last layer of epoxy. I'm going to let my cup spin for about 6 to 8 hours and then turn my tumbler off and let it sit for 72 hours to make sure that it is completely cured before I do anything else. Okay guys, my cup has been sitting for 72 hours and it's completely cured. I'm going to now use my X-Acto knife to get any excess epoxy or glitter off the inner rim of my cup. Now that I've got all the excess epoxy and glitter off the inside of my cup, I'm going to take sandpaper and just kind of go around the very top of my cup lightly, just to make sure that all the excess glitter and epoxy is off that very top rim. There was still a little bit of residue from the spray paint and the epoxy on the inside of my tumbler, so I'm using 100% acetone on a washcloth or a paper towel, whichever you prefer, and just going to rub that on the inside of the tumbler and it'll help take everything off. Guys, your cup is finished. Now here's your final product. If you liked this video and want to see more from me, be sure to hit subscribe and smash that like button. And until next time, see you later.